Now look, I think that we could all agree here that Kathleen Kennedy has destroyed multiple franchises. In fact, if you really want to count Willow in there, that really ups the ante to 3, and even 4 technically, because she did have a big role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Since she is a dear friend of Kevin Feige, she really had him do a lot of specific things with many of the recent Marvel movies and TV shows on Disney Plus as well. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we all know that South Park joining the Panderverse is a specific event episode that actually has brought their ratings and their subscription levels on Paramount Plus sky high. In fact, to this very moment, they are receiving endless Paramount Plus subscriptions to the point where it may very well outperform Disney Plus subscribers that have been added in a single month. Now, we know that there's a lot of things happening right now between Disney, Lucasfilm, Comedy Central, Paramount Global, which by the way is the parent company to both Comedy Central and South Park Studios. There's a lot of things happening with Kathleen Kennedy behind the scenes. Now, we already covered how Kennedy really took a jab at Comedy Central and how she took a jab at the Hollywood trades, really kind of, mocking Lucasfilm and the current state of Disney and where they are at. However, as of late, what's really insane has a lot to do with what is happening behind closed doors over at Lucasfilm and exactly how Kathleen Kennedy is already going against Comedy Central and South Park Studios, along with creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Now, specifically with South Park joining the Panderverse, mocking both Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, one major development has to do with Kennedy's actions happening behind the scenes in response to both Parker and Stone. Kennedy recently already called out South Park in a unique way. However, one crucial update of what's happening behind the scenes at Lucasfilm with Kennedy's response to South Park is that much like Disney did before, Kennedy is already beginning to set up a meeting with Comedy Central to request the heads of the company to prevent any kind of future mockery of herself as a president of Lucasfilm and as a valued producer of course, Lucasfilm now, and how they are in full damage control behind the scenes as they fear South Park Studios and Comedy Central, along with Paramount Global, pose a threat to their business model around Star Wars movies and shows, and even a planned Indiana Jones 5 sequel that Kennedy is still trying to push and develop. Those at Lucasfilm are already planned to hold a meeting with Comedy Central over that parody that was created by Parker and Stone. This will include Kathleen Kennedy, who is organizing this response, along with Vice President Lewin Brennan, Carrie Beck, the Executive Vice President, as well as the rest of the Lucasfilm leadership team. They are, of course, now planned to hold a meeting remotely with Comedy Central's heads, since Lucasfilm is already blaming South Park for a recent dip in Disney Plus subscribers. Even some of the Disney heads, such as Bob Iger, will be joining in on this meeting with Lucasfilm by this November, and of course, in an attempt to reason with Comedy Central. Kennedy is reportedly personally offended over what Comedy Central did, to the point that she is now also doubling down on their agenda with DEI for Star Wars, all Star Wars material moving onwards. So, for those of you that do not know what DEI is, it stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And to top all that off, we also have how they are using the concept of equality in a hypocritical, flawed manner. Now, what's really ludicrous about this is the fact that you have someone like Kathleen Kennedy going out of her way to reason, or to try and reason, with Comedy Central. Of course, they're not going to listen to Lucasfilm, and rightfully so. Now, before I get to the next big piece of this ongoing development, is that we know that Kathleen Kennedy does not take criticism well. And we know that this happened with Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. She was blaming the box office failure on people that are just opposed to women being in leading roles, which is completely untrue. We just want very well-written characters that fit the overall story, not these forced agendas that seem so fake and out of touch with reality, right? That's really what it really all boils down to, is that people that are fans of these franchises like Star Wars, Marvel, Indiana Jones, whatever it may be. They just want well-written characters and stories, and I think it goes to show you that Lucasfilm has no care in the world. The upcoming Star Wars film is going to be centered on Rey, specifically, and the new Jedi Order. That's going to be the first Star Wars film to return, and this was a 100% idea made by Kathleen Kennedy. Basically, Rey Skywalker is Kathleen Kennedy's baby, and she wants to see this happen. So, it's quite unfortunate, we talked about this on Twitter, what the current state of Star Wars is, and I'm not defending Lucasfilm, I'm just saying it's sad to see that what Star Wars has become is actually true, to the point that South Park had to mock it on live television. But moving onwards, Kennedy has also sent Comedy Central warnings about continued use of herself as a businesswoman in South Park. Both Parker and Stone are already working on Kathleen Kennedy's return in a follow-up to the Panderverse event that will debut sometime next year. This was made aware to the Disney higher-ups weeks ago, and this reportedly has been bothering Kathleen Kennedy for weeks. Both Parker and Stone have no plans to stop using Kennedy as a parody character in their episodes and events, as they have plans to keep on making jabs at Disney's failures throughout 2023 and beyond. Kennedy is already reportedly trying to find a legal reason to get back at Comedy Central behind the scenes, and it's something that the entire Lucasfilm leadership team is trying to figure out on what they can do to prove that Comedy Central is at fault for a recent substantial dip in Disney Plus subscribers. Kennedy is also prepared to make yet another and a more direct statement against South Park and Comedy Central during the end of November, when she plans to promote Skeleton Crew, another Star Wars show delayed until 2024. By the way, guys, I mean, how many of you really care about a show like Skeleton Crew or anything like that? I mean, these are just random TV shows that make absolutely no sense, hold no value to the George Lucas Star Wars that we know, and we know at the same exact time, Lucasfilm is in a downward spiral right now. They lost hundreds of millions of dollars from Indy 5 alone, to the point where they had to dial back on their budgeting for Star Wars shows and movies. That's how bad they really are in a state right now. So, do I think that Parker and Stone are going to back off? Absolutely not. Do I think that Lucasfilm is going to successfully find a legal reason to get back at Comedy Central? Absolutely not. This is all parody. Lucasfilm and Disney cannot do a single damn thing. They just can't. And we know that Bob Iger is deeply bothered by this. He talked about, television programs, quote unquote. He won't say South Park by name, but television programs that are inaccurately portraying him in ways that he does not agree with. And that goes to show you how bothered Bob Iger, too, is, of course, by Comedy Central's portrayal of him as a CEO. Again, it's not just Iger, it's the board, too, that's at fault here. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.